are you doing? Nobody really likes to admit that they're prejudiced. But I want to admit that I'm prejudiced. And I want to explain. There is a film, we're going to look at it today, called Gladiator. And I was exceedingly prejudiced against this film because I didn't think it could even begin to hold a candle to Spartacus, which is in my top 10, maybe even in my top 5. And so I didn't want to watch it. I'm no big fan of Russell Crowe anyway, and I thought, if this is a remake of Spartacus, I'm not interested. But it wasn't. It's a story in its own right, and in fact, it's a magnificent story. There are two sides to it. One is the narrative of the film, which I'll explain in a few minutes, and the other is a story that God wants us to understand and know, because it's very important to him, so it must be important to us. So the film did rather well at the Oscars. It was nominated for 12, which is extraordinary, and it won 5, including Best Picture, and Russell got a gong, or a golden statue. He won it for Best Actor, and a great performance. So it's not a film that can be ignored. The gladiator in question is, of course, played by Russell Crowe, and he is Maximus Decimus Meridius, I think he's called. We could call him Max, but let's not be so prejudiced. Maximus. And he's the commander of the Roman Empire's armies of the north and a general of the Felix legions. And he's Caesar's right-hand man. Caesar is Marcus Aurelius, played by the unique Richard Harris. And Caesar has decided that Maximus is going to be his successor. He's going to be the protector of Rome itself, while democracy and civilization and order is restored. Because all this fighting that's been going on for years and years and years under the imperialistic might of Marcus Aurelius has left Rome a shadow of itself. Rome is supposed to signify beauty, order, civilization, nobility. But in fact, the city has fallen into darkness and decay. And so Marcus Aurelius wants to restore democracy and give the Senate back its proper place. And to that end, Maximus is going to be the protector of Rome and his natural successor. Oh, the emperor has a biological son, Commodus, played by the sinister Joaquin Phoenix. And he takes a great part. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, didn't win. He won later in Joker, but we won't get distracted. Commodus is mortified by the announcement by his aging and dying father that he's going to be passed over. And they have a contretemps, and they hug one another. And Commodus hugs his dad so close to him that he suffocates him. So he can now claim to be the rightful successor and the new emperor. And he implores Maximus to swear allegiance to him, but Maximus knows what has gone on here and refuses to. And will pay the price for that. Commodus orders Quintus, the second in command, to seize Maximus, take him into the forest and execute him. In the meanwhile, he orders soldiers to ride to the home of Maximus and hunt down his wife and 8-year-old boy and murder them. Well, it's a bit early in the film for Russell Crowe to bow out, so he escapes the clutches of the Romans and rides to try and save his wife and son, but it's too late. And as he arrives, there's a memorable scene brings tears to my eyes, where he's lost his reason to live. He's wounded, he's broken, his wife and son lie before him dead, and he has no reason to live. And so he effectively gives up the ghost. But some wandering tribe of nomads find him and heal his wounds and take him off to some nearby market town, where he's then sold as a slave to Proximo, played by Oliver Reed, wonderfully. And I'm just thinking of some of the lines that he comes out with, but I won't repeat them. He himself was a gladiator, and he knows that the way to freedom is to win the crowd. And of course, Maximus proves himself a very skilled and competent gladiator. And once he finds out that he has the chance to fight in Rome before the emperor, the new emperor Commodus, he has a reason to live. His real reason to live, of course, is to focus on the will of his father, his adopted father. That's what he wanted to do, and so this is his way. And so he achieves great fame in the ring. Nobody can beat him. And finally, Commodus finds out who this mysterious gladiator is, and he's shocked by that. And the two of them fight in a duel, but Commodus dreadfully incapacitates Maximus by approaching him and while he's in chains, and tells him to smile, and then he stabs him in the back. So he's not dead, he's not mortally wounded, but he's certainly seriously injured. Nevertheless, Maximus beats Commodus in that contest, and before he dies, he says to Quintus, "Free my men." Marcus Aurelius's will was to restore Rome to the Senate, and this is his final will. And so that's what happens. And the scene at the end, of course, where Lucilla, the brother of Commodus, is broken-hearted that somebody she really loved herself is dying, but she wishes him well. "Go to them," she says, as he closes his eyes and rejoins his wife and son in the afterlife. It's a great story. It's brilliant. It deserves its Oscars. But the real story is, for me, it's the story of Jesus. He's fearless. He's focused on doing the Father's will, and he loves his family. And Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane did wonder, is this the way? Do I have to drink this cup of bitterness? And he asked his daddy, should he do this? But he let his father rule, because his father's will was, there's no other way. And so Jesus suffered and bled and died on a cross in order to gain a family. This creation is seriously flawed. We're all seriously flawed. And my phone thinks I'm talking to it. And because of that, God had to have a recreation plan, which can only be achieved through the work of Jesus on the cross. That's the story. Jesus was prepared to give up his life so that he could do the Father's will, so that he could be joined forever to his family in heaven. One of the lines in Gladiator is early on in the film, when Maximus is rallying his troops for one final battle in Germany, he says, "What we do in life echoes in eternity." Now, some people believe that once you're dead, and that's the end of it. Well, you're in for a surprise. You're in for a surprise, because all of us will live eternally. And to think that God is showing such incredible compassion on the whole of humankind to want them to enjoy his glorious presence and grace for all eternity is just mind-boggling. So the things that we can do now can begin to take the shape of eternity. We have an opportunity now to say to Jesus, you really did die for me, that I might be your brother, your sister, and live with your family under Daddy God for all eternity. Watch the film. Watch it with God. Ask him to watch it with you. He loves the film because he knows it's really all about him and his son. Enjoy it. May God bless you and protect you through this trial and tribulation. May he sustain you, and may he show you his limitless and unconditional love.